Jai Hind everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss the solution of question from pre-board examination of Stepping Stone High School, Class 10 ICSE Java. So the question was, you have to print a pattern, and what pattern it is? You have to print Pascal Triangle. Okay, you have to print Pascal Triangle on your screen. Yes, so Pascal Triangle looks something like this. Now, how does this works? I'll explain you, but to give you some context, what I'll do is I'll write some formulas that you already use. For example, first let me see how this Pascal triangle is made. So you will see what we do is we start from 1 from the top of the pyramid, and then we add two numbers to get the number below it. So 1 is here and there is nothing here, so you add them, you get 1, so below is 1. Okay, again same way, 1 is here and in the right side there is nothing, you add them and you write it down. Again go below. 1 is here, in the left side there is nothing, you add them and you come below 1. Then 1 is here and in the right side you also have 1, you add them, you get 2, right it below. Then in the right side there is nothing, 1 plus nothing gives you 1. Similarly, here 1 is there, in the right side there is nothing, you add them, you write it below. So 1 plus 0 is 0. Then 1 is here, then on the right there is 2, you add them and write the sum below. You add these two and write the sum below. You add 1 and nothing and you write it below. So it works this way. There is one more thing that you might know. This way is there. Another way to understand this is, let me erase this all. Okay, another way to understand this is, you might know that a plus b ka whole square is a square plus 2ab plus b square. Now see, the coefficient here is nothing, it means 1. The coefficient here is 2 and the coefficient here is 1. So 1, 2, 1. Again if you see, if I write a plus b ka whole cube, then it will be a ka cube plus 3a square b, then it will be 3ab square, and then it will be b cube. Now if you notice, the coefficient here is 1, the coefficient here is 3, then 3, then 1, and it corresponds to this. So the formula that we used was derived using the Pascal triangle. Now you know how this Pascal triangle is working and how to remember it, how to draw it on your own, but how to do it in like through a program where we don't have to uh, print it manually. The program will do it automatically. So how we are going to do it? For that to happen, we need to understand some things. First term that we need to understand is factorial. What is factorial? So factorial in maths is an operation. It is denoted by this symbol, exclamation mark symbol, or this symbol. For example, if I write 3 ka factorial, so I'll write like this, or I'll write like this. And how to calculate 3 ka factorial? It's pretty easy. You do 1 into 2 into 3 and you get 3 ka factorial, which is 6. If I ask you what is this, this is also 3 ka factorial. Both are symbol, they denote 3 ka factorial. If somebody says write 5 ka factorial, so how can they say? They will say 5 ka factorial. 5 ka factorial will be 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. So it will be 120. If you multiply all of them, you will get 120. So this is factorial. Now one question is there, that what is the factorial of 0? So the factorial of 0 is 1 by default. So you have to keep in mind while writing the code for factorial. So before we move on, let's first write a method that will take a number. Say it will take 5 and it will return you 120, which is its factorial. Say it will take 3 and it will return you 6, which is the factorial of 3. Say it will take 4 and it will return 24, which is factorial of 24. So first write that method. Okay, so let me make a new class and I'll write here Pascal triangle. Oh, let me see, I have done one mistake. Try. So this is it. So Pascal triangle is there. Open it, and we don't need this documentation. I'll erase this. We don't need what is inside. I might need this method. I'll keep this method. I'll name this method as factorial. So I'll write factorial. Okay, the factorial, I'll make this n because n is more familiar to me, and it will also return integer. Okay, so what it will return we will decide later. I'll do what, I'll declare one variable name f. So I'll write int f and I'll store 1 into it. Okay, now first of all what I'll do is, if n equals to 0, then I want to return f, because for 0 the factorial is 1. So I'll write if n double equals to 0. So what I'll do, I'll write return f. So it will return f. For now erase this and compile and see if it works or not. So say this is saying some error. Why is it saying error? Let's see. Missing return statement. Here is return statement, bro. Why are you panicking? Let me do this and come and do this, and let's compile. So we are getting error in compilation. So what we will do, we will not write return statement here. We will just set f equals to 1 here. So if n equals to 0, our f is equals to 1. But if else, what if our f is our n, which is the number that the user has input, is not 0? What we will do, we will run a for loop from 1 to that number. Say somebody has input, somebody has gave us number 5. So how will we find the factorial of 5? We will run a for loop from 1 to 5, and what we will do, let me write it. So I'll go for int I equals 1 comma I less than equals to n and I plus plus, and below it what we will do is very simple. We will multiply this f with I. So I'll write f into equals to I. So what will happen, each time this I will be multiplied into f. So first time that f will be 1, after second time it will be 2, third time it will be 2 into 3 6, fourth time it will be 6 into 4 25, 5 time it will be 24 into 5 120, and so on it will go. Okay, and finally what I'll do is, I'll write return f. Now it shouldn't show any error. Return spelling is wrong, let me correct it, and if I compile I shouldn't get any problem. Okay, so no problem. Now what I'll make this static so that I can check it. So I'll write public, then static, and then compile. Now let's see if our code is running or not. So I'll go here, I'll right click on this, and I'll select factorial. Okay, I think it didn't took. Le bhaiya, I think there is some issue. No issue. So I'll go here, I'll right click and I'll say factorial. So factorial is coming. I'll give input as 5. So I should get 120. It's working. Say suppose somebody gave it input 0. Ki 0 ka, tell me the factorial of 0. So what they will get? They should get 1, not 0. Okay. Say somebody give me factorial of 1. So what should it return? It should return 1 only. So it is returning 1. Say somebody gave me the factorial of 4. So it should return what? 24. Let me 4. Okay, so our factorial method is coming. So I think factorial to you is like you know now what is factorial. After that, what you need to understand is something called coefficient. You have already heard about it. My system is lagging. Okay, so next thing you have to know is what I call as NCR, which is nothing but coefficient, which we will call as coefficient. So NCR is what? The Pascal triangle that you saw. If I take this line 1, I draw the whole 1, then there is 1, then what's there? There is 1, then 2, then 1, then there is 1, 3, 3, 1, and so on. So if you see this, if I considered 0th line, this if I considered first line, this I considered second line, this I considered third line. Take for example third line, how third row is calculated. Okay, so third row is calculated how? Let me show you. For the first digit, what they do is they calculate 3C0. Now what is 3C0? 3C0 is nothing but 3th factorial by 3 factorial by the below one. What is below? 0 ka factorial into 3 minus 0 ka factorial. Then if I go to the second, what is this? This is 3C1, 3 coefficient 1. So what we will do is 3 ka factorial by 1 ka factorial into 3 minus 1 ka factorial. Now let me calculate each of them. 3 ka factorial is 3 ka factorial. 0 ka factorial is 1. And 3 minus 0, which is 3 ka factorial, is 3 ka factorial. Similarly here, 3 ka factorial is 3 ka factorial, 1 ka factorial is 1, and 3 minus 1 is 2 ka factorial. Now see here, 3 ka factorial will cancel each out, and we will get as 1, which is why we have 1 here. Once again, you will see 3 ka factorial is 3 into 2 into 1. And 2 ka factorial is 2 into 1, and they will cancel each other, so you will remain 3, and this 3 is only here. If you go to this will come as 3C2, and it will be 3 ka factorial by 2 ka factorial into 3 minus 2 ka factorial, which will be same as this, and that's why you get this. Now how this is calculated? Pretty easy. If you see, we can make a method named as coefficient. And what will coefficient take? Coefficient will take two things, n and r. And what will it will give us? It will give us an integer. Say for example, the one you saw here, the 3, they are integer only. Now how they will calculate this? Simple, by using a formula. What is that formula? That formula is n ka factorial, which is this. So I'll write n ka factorial. So I have method for calculating factorial. I'll write fact n divided by what? नीचे वाले का factorial, which means r's factorial. So I'll write fact r, then into n minus r, yani fact of n minus r, and this way I can get the coefficient. Got it? Let me show you in the program. So what I'll do, I'll write another method. Okay, so it will be public static int, and I'll write it as COEFF. Okay, E is not there. Coefficient. And what will take? It will take two integers. It will take int n, then it will take int r. So two factorials are there. Go below, like, take it like this, and then there. What we'll do, we will say return, and what we need to return, we will do a calculation here. So I'll open a bracket, give a semicolon, and enter inside. So what I'll do, I'll use the method that we wrote earlier. And what's that method? That method name is factorial, which will calculate factorial and give it to us. So I'll write factorial, and what I'll pass here, I'll pass this n here. So I'll write where is an n? Okay, so factorial n, and that will be divided by, I'll open one more bracket, and inside it I'll write factorial, and I'll put r here, and then I'll multiply and calculate factorial of n minus r. So I'll write n minus r. So this should return to us the respective factorials. Let me compile it. It's compiled, no error. Let's cut and check it. So what I'll do, I'll fatafat se check it. Coefficient 2, n and r. So I'll give 3 here, and below I will give 1. So I should get 3 as the output. Let me see, 3 is the output. 3C2 is also 3. So I'll write coefficient, I'll give here input as 3, and then here I'll give input as 2. So I'll also get 3 here. Okay, so it's working. Say I gave it 4 and 3. No, 4C2. If I calculate, what do I get? I give here 4, and then I give here 2. So 4C2 must be 6. So it is working. Okay. Now after these two are calculated, writing our code now gets easier. Okay, so to print the Pascal triangle, what I'll do, I'll write a public static void main method. Okay, so I'll go here, I'll write public static void main to use whatever we have created. Okay, so string args, this one, go below and give curly curly, then go inside and do it, this tab. So what we will do, we will ask the user how many lines they want to print. Okay, so I'll give a sys out system.out.println, and I'll give one message. I'll prompt the user to enter a number. Enter number of lines of Pascal triangle. So seeing this message, the user will input something, anything maybe. Okay, what I'll do, I'll store that into some integer. So I'll write, okay, let me go here. So I'll write int line equals to sc dot next int, and I'll give. So if I compile this, I'll get some error that this sc is not declared. We will declare it. I'll write scanner sc equals to new scanner, and then I'll do system.in. So even if I do this, there will get error that is not imported. I'll import it from java.util, that is scanner, and this is done. What next we will do, we will use a for loop. Okay, and that should be two for loop. Now let me show how I'll use my how we will use for loop. So suppose why we need to use two for loop is one for the row and other for the column, because you see this is a two-dimensional pattern. Okay, so we are going in this way. This is one row, this is second row, third row, fourth row, and then in each row there is one thing, two thing, three thing, four thing, five thing, like this. That's why we need to use nested for loop. That is one for loop, inside this for loop there will be another for loop. Okay, so we will do it. Let's try. I'll write for, and I'll start this with 0. Int I equals to 0, I less than, where till where we want to go. Say the users till less than line we want to go, and then I'll write I plus plus. After that I'll open curly, and then inside it I'll write for int j equals to 0. Then what I'll do, I'll write j less than equals to line, and then j plus plus. After that I'll again open body. So this, what I did was, this is the structure of nested for loop. Okay, now you will see if somebody inputs 5, बैठो थोड़ा देर. Now what will happen is, if somebody input 5, then or take some lower number, say suppose somebody entered the 3, then what we need to do is we need to print 3 rows, say 0, 1 and 2, but in each row we have to print 5 things. Say 1, then we have to input 3, then 1. So the number of columns in each row is 4. That is more than that. That's why we are running the inside for loop 4 times. That's why you see the equal sign here. After that, it's pretty easy. What you want to do is, you will do system.out.println, and then you will use the method that we designed just, coefficient. If I know, the method name was coef. Let's copy that. So I'll control C it, and I'll just paste it. So I'll do this, and what we will pass is we will pass here I comma j. So I is the row number and then j is the column number. So I comma j we passed it, and after this we need to print some spaces. So we will give something like this, and after each line is done printing we will print one ln. So I'll write system dot out dot print ln, and then this. Okay, now you see we have to remove this ln from here because all of it we want to print in one row. Let's see if our code works or not. So I'll select main method, and then it is asking me how many numbers of line you want to print. Say I said I need to print 5 lines, so I'll input 5 here and then enter. So see, it is printing 1 comma 1, then it's printing all of the things, but it is printing 0 also. We don't need that 0. So to avoid that, what we can do is so to avoid that, what we'll do is we will run the inside for loop up to ith only. Now compile it and see. So it is asking me number of lines. Say I want 3 lines to be printed. So it is printing 1, then the below lines. Now you see this triangle is not the perfect triangle that we wanted. To achieve the perfect triangle, what we will do is we will run 2 for loop inside the outer for loop. This for loop, if you see, this for loop is to print all the integers that we want to print. But if you notice this pattern, say this pattern, what you will see is in the front there is space, here is also space. See, if you think the line begins from here, then you have this much space here, this much space here, then this much, then no space. It means space is decreasing, but there is a triangle, inverse triangle here of empty spaces. We will include that into our code. So what we will do is we will write one more for loop. So I'll write for, and then I'll do what? I'll write int and say I'll write with k equals to 0, and then this will go up to, so I'll write k less than equals to line minus I. So I'll write line minus I. Space for I should be left out, and then k plus plus, and below it what I'll do is I'll just write system dot out dot print ln, not ln, only print, and then we will insert empty spaces there. And now if we compile and run it, so let's see what is the result. So I'll run main method, I'll say okay, number of lines, say I input I need 5 lines. So see, this is printing. So the for loop that we included is responsible for printing this inverse triangle of spaces that you are seeing here. Okay, this way you can write a code to print the pattern of Pascal triangle for any number that the user prints. What you need to know for this is you need to know 2 things. You need to know what is factorial, how factorial works, and then you need to know about coefficient, how coefficient is calculated. If you just understand how these 2 formulas work, this program is nothing for you. Thank you for watching this, and for any suggestion or better code, you ping me in the comment. To get the exact code also, you can pin in comment, I'll provide you that.